All right. Everybody, welcome to Nick's Late Night Garage. Nick from Matter Hackers. Yeah, getting into it tonight. Got a couple different projects we're going to be working on, pulling some stuff off the printer, getting the next job on one of the printers, at least for the bamboos anyway. Just recently picked up my latest filament batch from the office, and so I do have a filament allowance from Matter Hackers because as an employee I get about 4 kilos free every month. So I picked this up for my April order, and I'm going to be putting my May order in tomorrow, seeing that it is May the 1st. And so soon it'll be May the 4th, and May the 4th be with you here shortly. But yeah, I'm going to throw this down into my repository of filament. And last night I covered kind of respooling and how respooling worked with the respooler that I use, and I plan on getting some links into the chats in the near future, or the broadcast, or however that works. I'm not sure. I'm still learning as I go. I think it's my 6th video now. It's been a great getting in there, and I gotta stop saying so much, but more to follow on that as we kind of get through narratives. So we're going to pull some stuff off the printer, and that's going to be projects that I've been working on for my local brewery of choice. We're going to be taking this little vice clamp, attaching it to our Dremel 220 workstation with the soldering iron put in there, and we're going to start getting some heat sets put into our build for our Voron switch wire, or our Ender wire build. And so we're going to be building 2 of these things, and I plan on benchmarking them side by side. One Voron switch wire against an Ender 3 Pro direct, and then with the Ender 3 Pro and the Sonic pad to see, you know, how each one performs and operates. But yeah, it's going to be a good adventure as we go through this entire build. Really looking forward to it. And I keep saying that because it's kind of exciting. We got the ball rolling on it. Already worked on a couple things for it. Did the complete strip down of the Ender 3 Pro yesterday, and getting some of the heat sets done tonight. It's probably going to be really boring because there are a ton of heat sets that need to be put in, and that's going to be a slow and tedious process, I think. But you know, we'll figure it out and play it by ear. And so we're going to change cameras and scenes around a little bit. I'm going to maybe work on a little bit of automation of those tonight. But here's the latest one for the brewery. These ones say respawning. And so this means that they have low quantity of their beer on tap, and they have more that's being batched and ready to be released. And so you got quite a few of these printed out for GameCraft Brewing. And those will complement these other ones, which just say new beer. So as soon as I get a new beer out of batch and into tap, it's just tags so that when they hang them off of the tap pool, they know exactly which ones are kind of there as a quick reference to go to it. And so we're going to change the scenes around a little bit and get up and running for the next one. It's going to be pretty easy. We've covered 2 of them over the last couple days, but I want to get the printer going, and then we'll get after the other projects for the night. There's good old GPT. More GPT. More stuff. Gonna be doing some editing to the stream deck. Sorry, I had to change over the microphone to the Logitech camera, and I got to work on my lighting. So my lighting is kind of one of my future projects getting set up here. For right now, though, and I'm trying to figure out what the best home is for the stream. Whether it's going to be science and technology, or whether it's going to be DIY how-tos. Yeah, kind of playing around with it. Let's see here. That's the clamp that I was printing out last night. So we're just going to go, and we're going to select machine 1. Machine 1 is done. Close that off the menu. Going to prepare. We're going to close this project out. Don't worry about saving that. I got my image up for the 3rd one that we're going to get into, and that's going to be the last keg. And so we're going to print a couple of these out tonight. And I've been having some issues with the AMSs having filament break off either in the extruder on the Bamboo X1C or the filament snapping as it's routing from the AMS to the printer. And so hopefully I don't run into those issues tonight. I just don't know if I'm going to do it in a light blue or a dark blue. I'm thinking dark blue, and I've got a couple spools left of dark blue filament up there and some yellow, 2 spools of dark blue and 2 spools of yellow that I'll probably burn through the short stocked filaments first, see how far we get, and I think I should have enough to cover the job. Alright, so we'll leave that up here. I'll open up a new instance of Bamboo Studio. I'll just add a build plate onto here. Load in the last keg. Spin that over. Work the coloring, color painting by height. And so we've got 2 and 4. So we'll go to 4 first. Alright, then we'll go to 2. Alright, so that looks good. Now from here we're going to get out of painting, and we're going to copy this, 3, 4, 5, arrange those, that last one, bring it back up here, got 1, 2, 3, 4, and shift those up to the top. Rotate, rotate, get those set, and now we're just going to go ahead and slice. And send this job off to the Bamboo. So C4, and see we've got, I need to use that one up, and I need to use that one up because those are my 2 short stacked ones. Send that job to the printer. And she's off and printing. Let's see if my camera's still... No, the camera isn't messed up yet. I've been having some issues with the over temperature on the camera on my older Bamboo where it turns into a pink gobbled mess. And I've read online and on the wiki that that's generally there just due to the temperature inside the unit itself. And then it's happened on my other unit, but only when printing ABS, and the temperature was ramping up pretty high. But
it's worked out fairly well. I'm still able to capture the time lapse, but just not as best as what I would hope. All right, we're gonna go ahead and kick over to the other display. And so I might work on getting some more buttonology set up for here because I want to change it so I can work the scenes. I want to change like my Stream Deck too, so that I can kind of work some of these scenes. That way I can just, you know, come up and hit the push button based off of what I want instead of going over and manually doing it in OBS, turning off which microphone's active, which microphone isn't active, according to which scene I'm working on. And so the scene that's up right now, you know, it's just my 40-inch TV display as my work area. But yeah, I don't know quite yet exactly how to get it as best as what I would want. I haven't played around with that yet, and so that's going to be something that's going to be new for me. Is getting up these individual scenes established in here, and I think there's like scene transition stuff. I can select a scene. So let me actually change this over. Let's see. Change the scene back over to this one. Put that back down. As you can see, it's only 10:44, so we got kind of an early start tonight. So if I take a scene and I drop a scene in here, waiting for OBS. Hopefully this doesn't break the stream. I don't know if it will or won't. These may be things I need to set up offline, because I don't know if I could do it while I actually have a active stream going. Create some buttonology for this too, some little graphics or whatever. Oh, I don't know. So it doesn't look like over here, or maybe it's going to be like, you know, this one would be, you know, let's use the same naming convention, so this could be wide and top down. OBS doesn't look like it's wanting to play while I have a stream going, so we won't worry about that, but I'll get the buttonology put on here. And this is going to be desktop and design. And then the last thing that I have kind of set up is a hybrid model. Hybrid. I'll figure out how to get those, get some graphics put up for each one of these so I can change it up a little bit. Let's see, is there a microphone source in here? Camera, other scene collection. Mute unmute audio source. Source controls. I got to figure a little bit more about it out because I'm hoping that I can set each one of these settings so that as I transition from scene to scene, I can tell it, hey, just go select this scene with these audio mixer settings, and that's the audio mixer settings that I'm really looking to kind of streamline or incorporate in. But I don't think it's going to work while I have a stream going in OBS. So we'll save this one for another night, I think. I'm going to close that out. Change our scene back to our top down. So we're going to go ahead and, oh gosh, what to do? I guess we could go right into yeah, the build. So for the bamboo, I'm going to turn the bamboo screen off, and we're going to pull up our Sabur build. Wherever that PDF went. How does that change? Okay, here we go. All right, we'll go grab another beer. It's almost trash day, and I have a ton of stuff to take out the curb and a bunch of stuff that hopefully people will take. There's old kiddo stuff that my kids have outgrown. I'm going to drop it out on the curb, put a curb alert out there, and then hopefully somebody will come by and snatch it up. So, one thing to note, in the instructions, come on, baby, gotta get past this. In the instructions for the Sabur build, it talked about tapping, and it was we were going through, and it said, hey, you need to tap all 4 of the spots for the extrusions for the 4040 rails. And so as I looked at it, the Ender 3 Pro kit that I received and had from over a year or 2 ago, these all came pre-tapped, and so technically I don't need to do anything with re-tapping these, because it's going to be the M5x16s are going to be threaded in here, and an M5x16, they're already pre-tapped for M5, and so I'm really excited that I don't actually have to tap anything that I know of yet. And so whether or not something's going to need to be tapped in the future is to be determined, but for now I'm not going to worry about it. But I am going to take, I might leave these rubber feet on for the time being, but these rubber feet are going to have to come off as soon as we start getting into the build. There were a couple of things that I did see on here where they were like removing bolts and whatnot, and so it looked like it was really only for the Y-axis 4040 extrusion, because we need to shift it forward so that these back hex cap screws will then shift it to the front, and the front ones will then just go on some T-nuts in here, because the pre-threaded sections of this will no longer be usable because they're going to be out of position. So they're pre-trapped holes, but yeah, we'll get after it. Come on. Ooh, that locking washer is split. So the first thing it says is we're going to take that extrusion, and you can see where those pre-tapped holes are. And so it's coming in through the bottom, and those are being pushed all the way in through the top. And then you have the pre-tapped holes right here for the M5. So we got the 4 pre-tapped holes. And so these, what we're going to be the back to, are now going to be the front leading to. And so realistically what's that doing is we're taking it, we're shifting it forward so that only those ones are going to be set for the pre-tap, and it's just kicking that 40/40 extrusion forward. Except I need to get some T-nuts dropped in here. And slowly but surely I'm going to start opening all of these bags. Of course you would fall in there, why wouldn't you? Yeah, well, that fits a little bit tighter. If there's one that'll fit a little bit tighter, but it doesn't look like there is. And so as we can see on the back here, I've got those 2 ones kicked forward, so those, what used to be the back holes are now the front holes, and then these ones are going to go into those T-nuts. Let's see here. Take those out, and so it's going to say the M5x40 socket head screw caps. And so those, are these M5x40? Are these longer? So those are M5x42. So let's go and set those off to the side. I'm going to go M5x40 socket head screw caps. 2 of those, and then we're going to need the M5x30 button head screw caps. So I got my M5x10, M5x30, which would be these guys. And again, it's just like I'm really happy with how they have this thing packaged and how they have this thing set. So I hope those T-nuts are in there. I need to pull it down to get the bite. So I'm going to try to line up those two back ones with the button head screw caps first. So I think the tolerance might be too tight, honestly, for it to. It's like there's barely any room for that. And it's like those things are already like capped out, and I barely fit into those T-nuts. That's fine. Alright, so now we've got it kicked forward. Those are locked in. Sturdy and stable enough. Alright, on to the next event. Alright, so it shows that I guess I removed those 4. And I'm going to drop 2 M5x10 butt head screw caps, leave a gap so they can be tightened. Interesting enough. I wonder why that is, that they're doing that so that it's like a hidden joint for those 2 M5s. And so that means that we're going to have to take off that top section here and that side section, and that's going to be is that going to be both sides? Because that looks like that's only the looking at the unit. That'll be the left side looking at it. Alright, so we'll remove those. Easy enough. So left side looking at the unit, which is going to be this side. Oh man, they're going to be tight. And it's probably because of the locking washer is why those are so tight.
saying once those are out, I got two M5x10 button head screw caps. So my M5x10, a boatload of them. Two of these guys. And so those are going to be going into the oriented. It's like, did I take off the wrong side? Maybe. Let's see. I did. I took off the wrong side because I'm an idiot. It clearly shows the other side. So we're just going to go ahead and remount these. Actually, let me see. Do we do the same thing for the opposite side or no? No, we do not. It's only that one side, which is really interesting that they do it that way. So the extrusion is forward. Always double check your orientation of things. That's fine. It's not like it's hard to reassemble. Right in front of the camera. I'm gonna laugh when it's gonna tell me to come back through and do everything that I just undid to redo and undo. The big part is I can read instructions. So it's looking at it from the left side from behind the unit is where they want it. Now with the back side of the unit, a little wobbliness, and we'll try to get that out of there as we break this side down. Some type 2.
Just checking that. Right. Now looking at the diagram on the screen, we're going to want to take those two M5x10 button head screw caps, and they're going to go on the forward end of the printer. So with me looking from behind it, one's going to go here. And it says leave a gap of like 2 to 3 mil. And that's because we're going to slide the other extrusion rail back on. And I don't really have a gap setter. Don't tighten, leave a gap of 2 to 3 millimeters. Sure, that looks fine to me. And then we're going to slide, pass through the extrusion slot through the M5x10 button head screw caps, tighten the M5 button head screw caps with the ball line driver, and then put it into M5x40 socket head screw caps. So I'm going to feed that in. This might be a little loose. We'll tighten that down a little bit because I want a little bit of resistance. Maybe not a little bit of resistance, just a little bit more snug than what it is. I'm going to line that up. I'm not tightening these down. And I'll probably loosen them all up, and that way I can get it back to where it is. Remove some of the play that I was having, or the rocking motion that I was having. So I want to make sure it stays kind of as square as possible. Oh, what is going on here? Now with those, I'm going to take these ones we pulled out, I'm going to go to our discard pile, and go back to the M5x40. I'm going to drop the two M5x40 into the back two. I'm just going to leave them loose for right now, until I can rock the motion out of it. To have that motion kind of rocked out of it. Now I'm going to work on tightening everything down. Move my arm up a little bit. And so my little bracket here, that's all 3D printed. Might be slightly out of square, but I think it's also because I haven't tightened that one down yet, quite yet. So
And I'm going to get in there with a No, it's because we're going to have something mounted here, which is why they need these socket heads removed for something that mounts here. And I'm guessing it is because that's probably going to correlate with where the belt padding is going to go, and so they need these free and clear from belt padding, is my guess. We'll find out here in a second. We're not exactly square anymore. Over. We'll loosen these guys up and see if we can get it back into square. Give it just a little tiny bit of play. Hi, baby. You want to come say hi to the camera? And is this overkill? Probably. It's probably completely overkill. But that's fine. I don't mind working a little bit of overkill because I want the lessons learned to be captured. Let's see if there's some tension on here. Honestly, I don't think it's going to really matter that much.
It's just a little tiny bit of play, but we'll go through the rest of the build and see what happens. And we're not rocking. So we'll call that good. And so again, so remove these 4, and then we put 2 M5x10 button head screw caps inside the railing here, so they're kind of like a hidden joint. And I think it's there to free this up so we can actually mount some stuff on the side here. Alright, moving right along. Carriage is designed to slide along the rail easily. Forces include sliding off the rail, scrapping the carriage. There's like irreparable damage. No stopper on the left rail. Left, right. Hi.
Have some water.
Yeah, you can have some water, baby. You want to come over here? Come on.
What design should we have?
What's that?
What design should we have?
What do you mean?
Like, for the flying thing?
Well, we gotta work on them, kiddo. If you want to make a flying machine, we gotta work on the designs for it, and then we can start working on 3D printing things. You want to look at the camera and say hi?
Yeah. Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Lillian.
Yeah?
This is my daddy.
Yeah, that's right. I'm your daddy. Okay, hey, how old are you?
I turned 8.
How old?
I turned 8.
8 years old? Okay, you ready to go crawl back in the bed and get you some water?
No, I don't want to.
Yeah, come on. It's time for bed, baby. We need you to go back to bed, okay?
Have some milk.
Yes, you can have some milk. Alright guys, we'll be right back in a minute. Gotta love the kiddos. Yeah, she's awesome. Kids are awesome. Okay. Getting right back into it. Alright, so I have not greased the rails yet. And so I know that that's one of the next things that it says that we're going straight to rails. MGN12 linear rails with M3x8, something like screw caps. Rails that have a stopper in place to prevent the carriage from sliding off the rails. Some rails come with plastic top pins. Leave the bottom one in place. Mark location, draw attention to the layer. You can install the printed parts in the red box first. And so one thing I don't understand with this is it looks like we're going to have a bunch of peanuts in here as well. If I'm not mistaken, because it's like these things don't. I gotta pull the box up and open the box up and pull that equipment out. I do have to grease the rails first. I know that that's been one thing that a lot of people have talked about is greasing the rails. Okay. Let me be right back one more second. Yep, nature called. I had to go take care of some time right quick there. So now that we're back, all right. Set these off to the side. What we might end up doing is just setting this aside for right now, and we'll get to greasing the rails here in a little bit. And we're going to start pulling out all of our heat sets. Because the heat sets are going to be a very expensive part of this build. Here's my good old Dremel workstation that we built the other day with the heat set press, and so hopefully that'll make things a little bit easier. I don't know if it will or won't, but you know, here's to hoping. We grab our first bin of parts. Get all these M5x42s from the factory build. Set them off to the side. Just drop those in a random grid affinity tray. And so I created this little clamp right here. And I'm using the clamp to kind of assist in the heat set press. But some of these parts, they're a little bit more nuanced. This one. And I haven't post-processed some of these either, so we might work on post-processing some of these. And so this is like one of the carriages. It's the carriage for the Y. And again, I'm really happy with how the ABS Plus performed from eSun. Even this was printed in the ABS Plus from eSun. So we might end up doing a little bit of post-processing here before we start getting into setting the build. Some of these are with the ABS versus the ABS Plus. Like this one, this was on the ABS versus the ABS Plus. So ABS Plus right here, and then regular eSun ABS. And you can see just a dramatic difference between the two. And the ABS Plus really came out with a nice matte finish, very, very stout. Whereas the ABS regular versus not the Plus, a little bit of shiner sheen, and you can actually see the layer lines in there. But really happy with how the ABS Plus performed over the ABS. Really cool. And I did print all the parts with the brim too. And I don't know if I needed to or not. I printed on the X-Wing carbon with a PEI sheet, but I didn't want them to start warping. And I did ramp the temperature up and let it come up to temperature for quite a while prior to actually beginning the prints. I just felt a little bit safer, and I let it completely come down to temperature for quite a few hours after the print was done to make sure that it wasn't going to warp dramatically. But everything seemed to come out fine, and I haven't really seen any warped parts coming off of it at all, which is very nice. No, that's probably super exciting to watch. You know, it's funny, it's like I actually ran out of my first spool of the ABS Plus in lime green, and so I ended up rolling over to the ABS Plus in gray, and it was only for this, for I think 3 parts, but you know, it's all gray and green, so I wasn't too concerned about, you know, how it would look overall.
all parts. Parts, whatever. And then their paperwork and diagrams for all the heatset inserts is really, really extensive. And even on this one, it's like you can see. So I did have one where it did run out, and so I do have a batch where it's going to be like a little bit of the ABS and then transitioning over to the ABS Plus. And I don't think that'll be too much of an issue because I didn't get any like layer separation, but you can see where the ABS regular was before swapping over to the ABS Plus. Just because that little bit of shine and sheen that goes on with it. I could have been spending hours doing just heat set. And I've got 2 of these to build. I mean, don't get me wrong, super excited. But 2 of them to build might be a little bit tedious with all the heat sets. But, you know, the quality of product that's going to go into it is going to be the output quality for the product that we have. And so I'm perfectly fine with spending the time to get it done. Motor mounts. More motor mounts. I could probably just pull out a deburring tool and deburr it, but, you know, whatever. If you guys aren't worried about it, I'm not worried about it.
Just sitting here in the garage, listening to the bamboo, listening to myself talk like a crazy person. I'm not crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. But, you know, it's Wednesday night. And we're out in the garage tinkering, so everything's fine. I should have just post-processed these one of the previous nights, that way we could have just gone right into the build, but, you know, in my other bin, I want to say, which is actually down here in a drawer with all the parts and components printed out for the second build, those ones I did go through and take care of, but, you know, this gives it a good shot to see, hey, this is kind of some of the tedious portions of your build process, be ready for doing all of this. So this is raw and uncut. I'm just gonna do it live. I forget times. Well, why don't you just listen to music? It's like, I really don't listen to a whole lot of music. My music of choice is like very broad. I don't really have a music of choice. I usually listen. My music of choice is whatever the girls want to listen to, or whatever my wife wants to listen to. Aside from that, I don't really have a choice of music. I sit there and I listen to AM talk radio from time to time. I just listen in on the news. Sometimes NPR, sometimes local AM stations. But most of the time, if I'm like driving in the car, I just listen to the sounds of the road and the sounds that the car makes as I'm driving. And I don't know about the rest of you guys out there and gals, what you guys listen to, or if you have anything going. It's like right now I'm just listening to the sounds of the printer whirring away in the background, and then every once in a while looking over at it every time I hear a weird bump in the night. Seeing that it is now 11:43, and we do have a little bit of time. So much material. But when I did my garage revamp and remodel, it's like I even like pulled out our old Roomba and set our old Roomba up out here, and I run the Roomba out in the garage around the workshop area of the garage. So it's like I make a mess. I'm not gonna go through and sweep up all these little shavings of material from all over the place. almost done. I promise. Build a Voron, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Actually, I'm really enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to getting this benchmark side by side with an Ender 3 Pro. And then after working just direct with the Ender 3 Pro, looking at it from the lens of I have the Sonic Pad also, so why not benchmark it against the the Sonic Pad and do, you know, side-by-side speedboat races. Alright, I think that may be it. I think we are at the finishing line. Ta-da! Okay, so that is all done. Alright. Let's set that down. Ain't good enough for getting more. Alright. I'm gonna scroll back up in the instructions here. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to work through identification of brackets, and so we're going to make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to start doing heat sets. Okay, now I think I might actually change or add a new scene. So I think we're gonna, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and add a new scene, I think. So I'm gonna bring OBS up here. And there's that one, there's that one, there's that one. We're going to duplicate. I'm going to duplicate this one. Okay, we're going to call that one wide focus. And we're going to extend that one up. And then this one is going to, so the GoPro 1 is going to come to the top. No, we'll leave that where it's at. So wide focus, so we have that. Now we're going to bring the TV display up. With the Samsung turned off. And then we can bring the GoPro top down. I'll shrink that up into a small corner. Change back over to the no, not that. To here. And then I'm going to minimize this real quick, take this back down to my display, maximize that. Pull this guy back up, and drag this corner, nope, drag that guy over here like this, and all right. Just lost the camera, so we're going to bring that one back up right quick. Alright, so we'll change scenes real quick. So yeah, I just lost the camera. So I just reverted back over here, so I'm going to get those other cameras back up and running. So I should be able to go to stop, connect all. I should be able to go back over to the scene for the wide focus, refresh, refresh. And it actually looks like MonaServer may have crashed, so let's restart MonaServer. So I think MonaServer actually crashed. Okay, and now we should be able to refresh our GoPros. And bam, looks like we're back in. And so I turn the beeps on so I know exactly kind of a little bit better what's happening. And so now we're going to turn GoPro wide focus. We're going to turn GoPro wide focus. We're going to turn that off. Turn that on. Where to start? So now it's going to be categorizing all of these back out into their individual sections to make sure that I have everything. And so section 11, I'm looking for region 11. I'm looking for this little guy right here. And this guy right here to start with. It's like a puzzle matching game. 1, 2. Let's see here. Up. I've got this guy, and I'm looking for the one with the hard right angle, the 45-degree angle, which I don't see. It's printed parts. No. Did I miss a part when I was going through the print? Did I miss a part? Let me check my other bin and see what I got in there, my other drawer. So this is the guy that I'm looking for. So I do have it in the other one. Why do I not have it in this? Nope, nope, there it is, right there. Okay, so I do have it. Our attention to where the heat presses go, and this is why I kind of 3D printed. And it turns out my camera's switched off on me again. And so what I might end up doing is I might end up getting a microphone, a wireless mic, to get a wireless mic rigged up. That way I can kind of move around and talk at the same time. My little 3D printed monitor stand. I looked over myself and I was frozen on the screen. I'm like, oh man, seriously? Frozen? So, one thing I don't know is what is the recommended temperature for heat set? Using headset inserts and mark cores. So 343 to 393. ABS. ABS melting temperature between 220 so 250. That being said, I'll look at Hacko soldering iron temperature of 371 C. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to run these. So it's like it's a pretty good mix of what everybody's recommending. So between 275 to 350, and right now, here, read that. So it's set to 225, so we're going to crank that up to we'll just split the middle on the dial and we'll go up to 325 and we'll run it at 325 and see if we smoke. And so back to my diagram. So these first ones are going to be kind of top down. And I guess the goal for this is to not over-penetrate. So I'll drop those in. Look at that. That's not too bad. Are they perfectly flush? I don't know. Seems like it works pretty well. We'll find out later on in the build. Except the next two are going to be going in. Try to adjust it so you guys can watch without buggering it up. Oh, it's got some junk in it. We're probably going to reduce the temperatures ever so slightly because it is smoking a little bit, so keep the temperature down a little bit. Alright. And so those ones are in. These ones do have a little bit of a protrusion on the top, so that's better. So we got those and those set. Looks pretty good. I mean, alright, on to the number next is region 11, the curve one. Looks about right. 2 heat sets on this. And so I'm just putting slight pressure until I feel it give and start to recede into the material. And then I pull it back out. So we still got a little bit of smoke. So I might reduce the temperatures ever so slightly more. Right, number next is going to be the... These look like the belt tensioners, which is these guys. And they're going to be going in opposite end of the tooth gearing for the belt.
I'm probably being way too meticulous about this, but no, not what I want to have happen. Where is the ticket? So that may be the first failure that I got for the night. So. Yeah, keep these handy just in case. Hopefully that'll close that gap up and we won't have to worry about it. Alright, those are done. Now it's going to be region 4. It's going to motor mount with the small. Each of those, one over this one. Need to get another screen that's literally right in front of me over here. Let's see. So that guy. Check. Looks like we're gonna have to raise it up a little bit, and then which one is the other one? Literally just had it in my hand. Water mounts. No, it's right here. And this one should be that guy. Okay. So we need to take this. Raise that up. Again, I'm probably being way too meticulous about this. It could probably be a lot simpler. Need a platform of sorts. Right along. Next two. All right, moving on to region 11. It's gonna be do 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 do. Ba-da-da-dum bum bum. Ba-da-dum bum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-dum bum. Ba-da-dum ba-da-da-dum bum. Ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum bum. Ba-da-ba-da-da-dum ba-dum ba-da-da-dum ba-dum bum. Ba-da-da-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum bum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum ba-da-dum. Ba-da-dum bum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-dum bum. Ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum bum. Ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum bum. Ba-da-ba-da-da-dum bum ba-dum ba-da-da-dum ba-dum bum. Ba-da-da-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum bum. Ba-da-da-dum bum bum. Ba-dum bum ba-da-ba-dum ba-ba-ba-bum ba-da-dum bum. Da-da-da-da-da-dum ba-da-da-bum ba-dum bum. Ba-da-da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-bum ba-da-da-dum ba-ba-bum-bum. Ba-da-ba-dum bum bum. Ba-da-bum bum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum ba-da-dum bum. Ba-da-ba-dum bum ba-dum bum. Ba-da-ba-dum bum ba-dum bum. All right. Top row done. Those two are done. Now we're moving down to the next region. So, lordy, this is going to be painful. And we're getting it though. So far, so good. Going for a beer break. We're ready to do a filament swap on the bamboozle.
So I'll be back on camera in just a second. All right. I'm going to grab all of those sections to include the carriage, which I was just using. This is going to be an interesting one to get pressed in. These have to get pressed in an angle, I want to say. Speed Square. Speed Square to the rescue. So I think it's supposed to be at a 45. We'll roll with it. Oh man. It's alright, I don't mean to block the camera, but here we go. Oh, this is awkward. Oh, actually turned out pretty good. That turned out really good, just using a speed square to get that 45-degree angle. And if we take a look at it, not too bad. I hope they're set in far enough. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, they need to go in a little bit more. That's what it looks like. I don't know, that might work. We can press it in a little bit more. Yeah, not too bad. Smell of ABS. Yum. What was my other block? Yeah, so far it's going pretty quick, going pretty good. I think. I mean, I'm not timing myself on this or anything, but maybe there's a faster way of doing it. But I think we're getting pretty good accuracy for getting the depth penetration for these heat sets by using the press. So now we're going to be moving on to region 1. We got those ones in. We're going to do a top down on that center. Two from the outside to the outside. Okay, so this is going to be a little more technical. I'm going to rotate my screen actually. So I'm going to rotate the screen. I have this on a swivel mount so I can rotate it. So I can take a look and look a little quicker at this. So I'm going to grab these guys. So these ones are going to be inset here. Do I have that much penetration? No, I don't. It is midnight 31 right now for all of you tuning in. I mean, if I had a bunch of, Pacific Coast late nighters or even East Coast super late nighters, that'd be cool, but oh, lordy.
So there's those two on the inside, and then I think these ones come from the outside. So those two inside, these two outside. I need glasses or something. I may have been setting a little too far, but I think it should be alright. One done. For this dude with the big old square. This one's for the fan, I believe. That one melted a little too much, and it bit back onto the press. That's all right. Is that one? Is that one? This guy. Yeah, for that one I capped it out, so I had to adjust the Z height. The Z height offset. That guy, we got that guy. We got these two. Inner, outer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I really want to cue that music up. Ba-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Ba-da-ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Ba-ba-da-da-dum. So we check. Yeah. Doom, doo, 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 doom, doom, doom. This takes all my concentration right now. No. Dang it. Have a pair of pliers handy, because it's like, man, some of these things the threading on the inside of these is biting onto the soldering iron. And so when I try to retract it, it's pulling it out, which I don't want to have happen. So have a pair of pliers handy and ready to go at a moment's notice to try to rewrite those before that ABS starts to cool. Because again, like the whole goal for the heat set press is to try to get that direct vertical into it, and having a set of pliers handy to work it maybe the best option. Or maybe it's like, you know, start to press down, and once it's starting to press down, let it self-align. Let's go straight with the pliers. I don't know. I think it'll be fine, question mark. But it's the first build, so we're building, you know, lessons learned. I mean, I probably could just do this by hand, but I don't know, I feel more comfortable using a press, as odd as that sounds.
part in, part out, press. Or part in, press, part out. Part in, press, part out. See, I feel like an assembly line right now, even though it's like a one-man assembly line. Alright, hopefully these ones don't bite like the last ones did. So far, so good. And so I think this is probably going to be one of the most painstaking portions of this until we start getting into like building the actual like, until we start building the hot end assembly. Because for that stealth burner, I think the stealth burner is probably going to be one of the most time-consuming parts. But I'm okay with doing that. So let me grab the LCD tray. Because the stealth burner is going to be like all the PCB and the wiring and getting all the wiring into its appropriate location. So I think the two parts of your build that's going to take the longest time is going to be getting all these heat sets installed and put in. And if not the heat sets, it's going to be the stealth burner and getting the stealth burner up and running. No. Alright, page 1 of heat sets is done and in the box. Now we're going to move on to the heat inserts for step 2. For region 2. Oh, these ones are going to be a little bit more difficult. So I don't know if I have a vertical height clearance for this with the mod onto that. What I might be able to do is rotate the tool head off to the side and then raise the platform up. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. Okay, so the ones with the angle and the Voron symbols are going to be the ones that we're going to have. The Voron symbols are going to be those two. So this one and this one. And these two are just going to be the top down. That one and that one. guys can see and I can see. I guess I could just stand up. Midnight 49 right now. And even though there's this little nub on these ones, it's like it's hanging out the back end of the press, so it doesn't play a factor. I can keep it pretty much level. Let's see. Let's see, what do we have that we can top this thing up on? It isn't too tall, yet not too short. It still provides stability and base. Good enough for government work. smell of ABS. It's probably really unhealthy for me. I should probably actually ventilate this space. Right. So an interesting topic that did pop up today was that evidently we had an earthquake. Like a 4.3 or something that was like 10 miles away from us, and there was like news alerts and everything that went out about it, and we were like, did you feel shaking? It's like, I didn't feel anything when I was at the office. There was like no shaking, no nothing. Nothing really identified itself as being an earthquake. So, I mean, maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, I don't know. Oh, that's going to be busy. Okay, so we've got this one. We have... Nope, that's what we're going to go with. Set that one off to the side. Have this one with the Voron logo. Has to be one on the top, two on the bottom, one on the opposite bottom, and then two in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 for this guy. Can I get this on the line? It'd be awesome if they would. But they won't. So here we go. Called him Butterfingers. Do I have enough clearance? No, I don't have enough clearance. Come on. Okay. I have to do this one live. We're doing it live. That sucks. I have to use my hand vise for this one. Actually, there's going to be like 4 of them. The other two shouldn't be too bad because it should be a flat 90-degree surface. Whereas this one's going to be a little bit more tricky. Metro done that for.
So we'll take care of all the tall ones first, and then we'll drop the press head down. And that one's gone. Hopefully. Good Lord. Again, Butterfingers. But yeah, for the earthquake, it's like there was a 4.3 earthquake today. Didn't feel a darned thing, and I was at the office all day, running back and forth, and didn't even notice the news alerts or anything about it. Evidently it happened, and it was a big exciting event for my girls at the schools. It's like, there was an earthquake today. Because they really haven't experienced an earthquake. So it was probably super exciting for them. And I'm just glad that, you know, nobody got hurt and it wasn't like too destructive or catastrophic. I mean, you know, 4.3 isn't anything to scoff at, but at the same time, it's like, if you come over to the Matter Hackers warehouse, it's like we've got equipment that's stacked pretty high on some of our racks in the warehouse. And it's like pallets of filament or pallets of computers and, or 3D printers and equipment. This doesn't cap out. And so that would not be good, especially being in the warehouse if a good shaker came through. I would not recommend being in the warehouse for that. Granted, the warehouse and like these racks, I mean, they're the same kind of racks that you see like Home Depot and whatnot. They're all concrete anchored to the ground for our shipping and fulfillment team. But still, I mean, earthquakes, nothing to scoff at. Even though it was a 4.3, I didn't feel it, and I'm happy that nobody really felt it around the office that I know of. There's nobody that ran panicking and it's like, I don't even remember when the last time we had an earthquake here in California was. I still gotta take a look at where the epicenter for it was and see what fault line it happened on. Everybody worries about earthquakes here in California, earthquakes and wildfires versus, you know, elsewhere in the world. And in the United States, you gotta worry about hurricanes and craziness from those. Drop the head down now. So pop that down. Set the height for those. Yeah, having the Dremel workstation has been kind of cool feature. And is it necessary? Absolutely not. But I figured, you know, if we're gonna do it, I'm gonna, you know, it was in one of the previous videos of getting the heat set press put together. So I wanted to really kind of showcase, hey, if you're gonna do this, why not do it for real and professionalize it and get as close to a 90 degree. I mean, is it perfect? No, there's some flex because it's like where it bites into on the collet here, there is a little bit of flex because it is a rubber ring that wraps the soldering iron, and so this section right here, well, it's toasty to the touch, but again, this is printed in that same eSun ABS Plus, and so we do have a little bit of temperature here, but overall, I've been really happy with it so far versus, you know, just trying to use a soldering iron and a heat sink. Or as the heat press by hand. I trust this thing to press these in
quite a bit more than I would with my hand, because it's like I could actually control the tension and control much more precise the depth of penetration. And it's like I'm just putting slight pressure on there until I see it actually start to melt and move, and then I just continue to add just ever so slight bits of tension on there, and then I can rotate it, just make sure it's set in there flush or slightly recessed. And there's a couple of like 3D printed presses that you can use for heat sets. It's just I had this Dremel workstation here, and I've used it quite a bit, but I've never. But I haven't used it enough to say like, yeah, this is my go-to for everything Dremel. And it kind of prompted me like, well, what can I use it for? And when I started like wargaming the videos out and how I was going to accomplish it, it became one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like I could absolutely repurpose it and use it for a heatset press, as I was, you know, confirming my want and desire to change my Ender 3 Pros over to the boron switch wire, or the Ender wire. And I'm happy that I'm kind of doing it this route, even though it may be really slow and tedious, and maybe faster by hand, but neither here nor there. Almost done with this section. And then on to the stealth burner. Stealth burner is going to be next. Let's see if I can rotate that a little bit better for you guys so you can see. So right there, I'm waiting for the melt point, and once I hit the melt point, I slowly press in, release. That's still protruding a little bit. Line it back up, press, release, go to the next one, wait for a melting point. I'm going to press and release. Every time you hear that pop, it's because the retraction of this is biting onto the teeth inside each one of the heat sets. So part in, press, press, part out, part in, press, press, part out. I'm just using my calibrated eyeballs to get, you know, calibrated eyeball rough level for that 90-degree push. Let's get pressed in a little bit more on both of them. A little tedious work, but it's for a good cause. It's for a good cause. Seems like whether or not I'm lying to myself has yet to be determined. So every time I'm pulling it out, I'm taking a quick glance at it just to make sure everything is either slightly sunk or at least flush. And so, yeah, we're doing pretty good. Alright, on to the next section. And recharge the glass. Oh, Lord. Alright, so we did 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so that section's done. Oh man, and now we're going to be going into the stealth burner. Yay, stealth burner. So everything on the stream still looks good. We're still up. As far as I can tell, everything looks good. Okay, so region 10, region 7, region 7. So region 7, let's start with region 10. That looks to be a little bit interesting. Hopefully we can get that into the quick clamp that we made. I have to support it a little bit with my hand. And those look to be a little bit taller, so we're going to lift this up. Call that good for right now. Step back over. And so we're looking for, this guy is the first go. Bamboo is still crushing it over there. Okay, so we need to do one here and one here. Grab my vise. And this is going to be a little interesting. Can I get that to go? Yeah, I should be able to do that. That'll work. Open the vise up. Using my calibrated eyeball to make sure we're kind of at a rough level. That guy's gonna go here, and then I'm gonna put one here. And so mad props to anybody that's actually working like manufacturing in this fashion, because oh man, this is some tedious work. That's going in all sorts of cattywampus. There we go. I'll let that cool down a little bit before I try to repress it. so that one is done. Set that one off to the side. So there's that. I'm going to find the opposite end, which would be where are you? This one's going to have 2 also. Another. That's where I set that back in the device. Get somewhat of a quick, rough level. Good enough for government work. Yeah, so this little vise has actually come in really, really handy for getting these things to lock into place, and that way I can just, you know, slide it around to build areas I need to get these heat sets kind of pressed in. And it's all printed, so it's like I try to print some of this tooling as much as I can. One, because we have the technology, and 2, because why not? Looks like I still don't have any watching the channel. My wife keeps making fun of me because I have a little bit of presbyopia and I have to like back away to get things that are close into focus. So I'm going to let that cool before I press it some more. Come on. I'm probably being way too precise about this. I probably don't need to make it this difficult on myself. No, don't do that. I say that and then this happens. Well, that one might be messed up, but we'll run with it for the time being and see how far we get. Again, it's just like the threading on the inside of these heat sinks keeps biting to the tip of the soldering iron. And so when I try to remove it, it's biting on there and it's pulling it out.
that's okay. We're getting some good lessons learned captured, and hopefully for the next build we will not have some of these same problems. Alright, so region 7. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Get a little bit deburring with my nails on this. Good enough for government work. Even though I'm still doing it. Alright. 1. 2. 3. 4. Stealth burner. This is the this is the part that has me the most nervous out of all of it. Is this section right here. I would hate to screw up the stealth burner. Do I have enough penetration? No, I do not. So we can drop this down a little bit. And so when you're moving it, I'm actually supporting it right along the base. That way I can kind of control movement. Ooh, that was close. That one almost retracted out. So I'm just ever so slightly more. I'll come back to that one. I'm going to let that ABS cool a little bit before I ream it again. Yeah, not too bad. It's looking pretty good. So I get the light on it. Alright, number next. Region 7. This guy. So we're going to do... Okay, hold on. This will be interesting. Okay, so here we go. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that third one is going to be rough to get to. I'm going to go for the hard one first. Yeah, that's going to be rough to get to. So for this one, I got to get a heat set insert inside here. And it's going to go right in there.
but I've got to get it past this bar. So this might be probably the most difficult one out of the group. Luckily it fits in my vise. I'll crank the vise down quite a bit because it's really thin right there. There's not a lot of room to play with this one. Interesting. Okay, so this is gonna be technically challenging. So we're gonna get this guy, raise it up. I may have to do something different with this one because of where it's at. Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get that in there without rubbing. I'm doing this one by hand, I guess. I'm going to warm it up really good. Press it in. Back that off and immediately go to the pliers to press it until it begins to cool. Well, that one's not stressful. So that one right there may be the trickiest one of all, I think. Because the outer diameter of this section of the soldering iron is too thick to fit past here, and I don't know that I have a longer soldering iron bit. I don't know if I have that set in far enough. I want to get that flush. That should be okay. Ooh, we're at a filament change. It is now 1:28 in the morning, so I am running out of time. The next two are going to be down at the base. So I'm going to drop this quite a bit down. So we're at our first filament change. Oh no, it hit a stop. No, don't tell me that. Oh, you broke. Why did you do that? Oh, I have to wait for it to air. That sucks. And the question is, where did it break? Which is funny because every time that I've been doing this at nighttime, as soon as I would go to bed, it would hit the filament swap, and then I would have this exact same issue because some of this filament is a little bit older.
So it looks like my filament is actually broke off inside the AMS, which sucks. I'm not excited about that. Yeah, I understand. Failed to feed the filament. Nothing through there. Nothing through there. Late night TV printer triage, go! I was just hoping to use the rest of the spool up. Well, at least I'm awake for this to happen today. Jammed in the AMS gear. That really sucks. Printer triage. $1:34 in the morning. We can recover. And there we go. Broken off inside the AMS, so I'm going to feed some filament that should be good through it. Hopefully it won't snap. There's just sections of this that are still pliable, and there are sections that are just super brittle. And these are not old spools either, so I don't know. Lordy, lordy. Let's see. That was a piece of, oh, there it is. Check the filament pathway, make sure it's still good. Looks fine, looks like it's unjammed. Jam has been removed. I'm just going to leave the screws out in case we have another jam. There's that blue spool. The yellow still seems pliable, so put the yellow back in. That's brittle. 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 Not brittle, not brittle, not brittle, not brittle, not brittle. Not brittle. Still not brittle. Okay. Snip a little bit of this off. Never a dull moment in the 3D printing universe. Alright, let's try it again. Oh, come on, you just locked in. There we go. Okay. Late night bamboo triage with Nick in Nick's late night garage. Alright, let's try that. screen. Let me try. Of course, just broke off. I wanted there to be and so there's a piece of filament that's stuck after the AMS hub, and so I should have checked that before moving forward with it and telling it that, yeah, everything's fine. Because everything is not fine. Right for the top of the that's next error. Actually, no, it seems like it decided that it can put filament, so. Alright, self-cleared evidently. We'll probably get a filament run out here in a little bit because there is a break between the AMS hub and the AMS unit itself, so we'll let it start its business from the next color. It is now 1:43, so we've only got about 15 minutes left before I have to Cinderella pumpkin around 2 o'clock in the morning. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be Nick's Late Night Garage if we were not working late into the night. And today's been like a really long stream, so not necessarily too bad. Yeah. But we made some pretty good progress. All right, back to the ender wire. Okay. Yeah, it did run out. It's saying that it ran out of filament. Literally as soon as I sit down. And it's like, you can't make some of that stuff up. Alright, we fell all the way to the hot end. So it has, bamboo has self-recovered. My faith in humanity has been restored. Alright, back to the build. Alright.
I'm gonna need glasses soon, and I hate to admit it. Oh. Yeah, so I think when you guys get into your build, this is probably going to be the most time-consuming portion of it. I like the setup that I got going there because it's like, yeah, I could just take these, rotate, align, and then press. That one bit a little too much for my liking. Alright. Oh, that one is way off. Alright, so we're going to try to realign that red pressure. That one was like at a steep cant, because if you heard the pop, when I tried to retract it, again, it's that the teeth that are for the threading were biting into the hot end. I think that should be okay. And it's kind of almost too late now. But I mean, worst comes to worst, we'll end up reprinting. Okay, so now we need region 11. Got 12 minutes left. Oh Lord. I need this guy. We got region 8, or region 10, region 7, region 7, region 11 times 2, which I'm guessing is this block and this block. So this is the only thing that really kind of matches up. So we're going to need to grab our tray, set that guy in there. Oh, bless America. So I've dropped 2 so far, and so I think 2 out of all the ones we've done so far is actually a pretty good ratio. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Or don't correct me if I'm wrong, that's fine too. I knew that was going to happen. This one I can't like put pressure down on because it is so close to that hot end assembly, or the soldering iron. I don't want to scorch my fingers off pressing things into it. So having a set of pliers handy for this is probably going to be the best bet. Oh no, that is catastrophic.
And so I accidentally pulled my soldering iron out of the mount. Turn that off real quick. I don't know, maybe that's a good stopping point for the night. Maybe that's the omen. Hey, you've been at it for a hot minute. Why don't you just relax for the rest of the evening? So that is pretty toasty. Yeah, we'll turn it off. We'll go ahead and pick it up tomorrow. We made some really good progress though. I mean, all of these look like they're going in really well. But, you know, it's 1:52 in the morning. I've got 8 minutes till I stop. I've already had one issue with the bamboo. It's got to get through this filament and then one more filament change over to the yellow. And I've dropped 2 of my heat sets. And so, yeah, we're just going to call it a night for right now. And then we will pick this thing up tomorrow. And then continue the heat set fun that we are having right now. We still have quite a few more to go. It's like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Well, as we were talking, my cameras ended up deciding to not refresh, and so last little bit, I'm not sure where we left off, but it's like we've got 18 more heat sets to do. I'm going to call it a night because it is now 1:54 in the morning. We did some really good progress today on getting the rest of the frame set, advancing the Y-axis, getting everything set for the X and Z axis for the instructions. We did a ton of heat set presses with our Dremel 220. I got it powered off, it's cooling down. And right there at the end, I ended up popping it out of the assembly because I ended up putting pliers and too much pressure on it, which popped it out. So we'll get the Dremel press back up and running tomorrow. Oh yeah, not too bad for today for, oh gosh, almost 3 hours and some change of work in for the night. And then really looking forward to it. Also, we had some catastrophic issues with one of the bamboos that we had to attend to with some filament breaking off. And so, quick reaction mode, getting that back into service and up and running so I can get these hangers delivered to Gamecraft Brewing Company, local brewery of choice. And so, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This is Nick from the Late Night Garage with Nick, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.